So this is a public hearing in case number 26-0716, which concerns a tariff filing of the Village of Hyde Park Electric Department and a request for approval of a 14.92% rate increase effective June 1st, 2026. My name is Ed McNamara. I'm the chair of the Vermont Public Utility Commission. And with me today are Commissioners Margaret Cheney and Riley Allen. And we also have Andrew Popiti, a utilities analyst with the commission. So hopefully this was covered a little bit earlier, but for folks just showing up now, Public Utility Commission is a quasi-judicial agency that regulates electric utilities, gas utilities, a couple other things, but relevant tonight is electric utilities. So when I say quasi-judicial, it means that we have or use a lot of the same procedures as a court, and we have certain responsibilities and restrictions. We have to decide cases based on the evidence that is presented to us, and we are not allowed to discuss cases outside of formally noticed hearings. The Department of Public Service, who you're just hearing from, state agency tasked with representing the public interest in cases before us. The department does not have the same restrictions on communications that we have, and they use what they learn at these public hearings and through their general expertise to present evidence and legal argument to the PUC regarding what, if any, rate increase Hyde Park Electric should receive and why. So definitely heard from Commissioner Johnson. Henry Mock is the attorney as well. And I believe I see Sean Foley. So thanks, folks, for being here. So what the department hosted is really an opportunity to understand the rate increase proposal. What we're doing now is getting comments from members of the public. And the comments that we hear tonight are not really formal evidence in the case, but they're really helpful in raising new issues, different perspectives the commission should consider as we evaluate the case. And obviously they're helpful for the department as well, and as they put together their case. Today is not the only opportunity to provide comments. We have a couple different means of doing this. Folks can provide written comments using the commission's online case management system, which is ePUC. Contact information, everything you need to figure out how to participate in our proceedings can be found at the website, which was just put in the chat, www.puc.vermont.gov. You can subscribe to the case in ePUC, which means you'll receive an email notification of any commission order filing by a party. And as I mentioned, there's more information about how to participate in the proceeding on the website. So before I start taking public comments, I just want to touch very briefly on some logistics. We're going to be recording this using Microsoft Teams. And after the hearing is complete, the clerk for the commission is going to issue a memo with a link to the recording. So that will be available after this. So with that, what I'd like to do is hear from folks who'd like to make any comments. So easiest way is probably if you use the raise hand function up along the top, just the raise. That gives me a list of who's interested. Great. Mr. Stein.
Excuse me, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Great. Thanks for holding this meeting. I just want to share a couple of my feelings about this financial crisis in which we find ourselves. I feel, or I think, that we find ourselves here, excuse me, because of a lack of competent oversight of the two prior village managers and some deplorable financial management. There was a lot of really bad decisions made over the past 10 years and a complete lack of transparency until recently about the nature of the problems. So right now, this rate increase, as I understand it, is intended to pay for the two loans that have been taken out. And we'll basically be paying $1 million in interest over the next 20 years, which I think is kind of perpetuating the financial decisions that have been made by living on borrowed money. And money's not free anymore as it used to be 10 years ago. So the result, the impact of those decisions is that we're no longer an attractive target for acquisition by a larger utility, whereas without this financial crisis, we may have been. And I think by expending so much of the money in our bills over the next 20 years, we're also going to miss out on a lot of opportunities to modernize our technology and to gain some system improvements, which would be beneficial for all of the ratepayers. That's all I got.
Great. Thank you. I also see Sterling View Cooperative.
Just a quick question about, was there another way Hyde Park Electric could have gotten funding other than repeated short-term loans?
We'll say that's a question for Hyde Park and for the Department of Public Service. That's an issue that we're going to have to resolve, or that we might be resolving in this particular case. So it's not something that we can answer.
That's already
Oh,
filed.
well, then we don't have anything. And also, it seems like somebody could have given them maybe a better rate rather than a loan through just a local bank here in town. I mean, I understand Union Bank deals with more than Hyde Park, but it just seems like banks making out pretty good on this whole deal, you know?
Yeah,
A lot of people are. No.
none of it's right. None of it's right. This is wrong.
But somebody just spoke up. Is there something, first, could you just provide your name, and then it's a little bit hard to hear you if you can speak a little bit more
Oh.
directly.
Okay. Are you talking to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is Sherry Craig, and I just think that it's just not right that the regular folks here that we're working hard, retired, we're, barely making it because of the economy. And then because somebody else has not done their job, then we're paying for it. And I do understand all those explanations, but it doesn't give us any relief right now. There's got to be something, like the other person said, there's got to be another way that's an enormous percent. And it just isn't right. There's a wrong way of doing things and a right way of doing things. And this whole situation should not be handed to the people that are working hard or have already worked their entire lives and then now have to suffer because some idiot didn't do their job and did things backwards. And it's just, I don't think it's satisfactory enough just to sit and wait while we're going to pay 14+%. It's just wrong. That's all. I just don't think, I don't have an answer because I don't know how everything, governmental and all that sort of thing works, because we're regular people paying our portion that we're supposed to do. We're doing everything that we're supposed to do. And then you're just taking the money, and it's just wrong. That's all.
Okay, I'm a resident of Sterling View Mobile Home Park. I'm retired and I'm 79 and I've been forced to go to work to pay my bills. And I want to review a list with you that I've put together that I've now since January of this year had to face. There's now a second increase in electricity. Rent has increased, cost of food have increased, heating fuel has increased, gas for transportation's increased, changes in medication insurance, which I was forced to drop a competent one because they left the state, and buying more expensive one has increased, plus an
Yes.
increase in medication costs. That added up to a $270 additional hit to my Social Security that I get on a monthly basis. Now I have a second rate increase coming down because people with not enough skills, with negligent oversight of a company that I paid good money for the utility that I used and trusted. And I just have a really hard time thinking about having to now add another increase to my list. And if you take into consideration the number of people who are retired in this park alone, not in the whole Hyde Park area, who are sitting in the same position that I am,
Yes.
I just can't understand how there's not resources out there that could be tapped either through the government or the state that will help mitigate the second rent increase.
I agree. Yes.
Thank you. And for the person who just spoke, can you provide your name?
No, I was just agreeing with her.
No, ma'am, the person earlier. Thank you.
Oh,
The one that just spoke,
Yes, ma'am. The one that's talking about other resources that can be tapped. Yes.
Alma Bachman.
Great, thank you. Is there anybody else? I'm just going to stick with Sterling View Cooperative. It sounds like there's a couple folks in the room. Is there anybody else there in the room who's interested in speaking tonight?
I want to just add one comment. My name is Sally Carpenter. In the informational meeting, I did bring it up, but I would like to bring it up here. Part of what they were showing in the informational was all of their expenses and their anticipated costs. And for them to sit there and they're going to give everybody a 3% raise as we're all sitting here looking at a almost 15% rate increase, it just doesn't seem right. I retired from the state and I spent many years at the same rate of pay because we were on a freeze. And I'm like, we're gonna give people who were incompetent in their job another increase at the expense of everybody paying their electric bill?
Thank you. All right. So we're looking at the screen, looking around virtual rooms. Is there anybody else who's interested in saying anything tonight? Again, this is not the only opportunity. If I know some folks don't like speaking in public, we have the opportunity to file comments. Just send an email, file them in EPUC. There's other different ways to say that. Mr. Stein, yes.
Excuse me. Thank you for indulging me. I know I've spoken already, but to address some of the concerns from the folks over at Sterling View, I have two opinions that I could offer. One of which is, in a properly functioning electric utility, we would have been going in for rate increases over the time period that the operational expenses were exceeding revenue. However, we did not. we kept funding operational shortfalls by taking out loans, which is what brings us here today. My second opinion is that the people who were incompetent are not the employees who are working in the office and who are working on our electric system. The incompetent parties, in my opinion, were the village managers with a lack of adequate oversight from the trustees. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Let's see, Jim Curran.
I have a question
Hi,
for you.
thank
Can you
you.
hear me?
Just 1 second, please. Mr. Curran has his hand up earlier.
Yes. Thank you, Jim Kern. I live on Eden Street. Couple public comments. Just basically, I understand where we got. I understand that we should have had rate increases over time. I also understand that those rate increases would not be as high if we had taken them over time as they are now, because we also are paying interest. Just to be clear about that. Number two, fortunately, unfortunately for my family, I am not retired, but I am working hard. I have 3 kids that are, I have one that's going to be going to college in 3 years. I pay an electric bill for my family of 5. That's bigger than both my car payments and a third of my mortgage. There is no other place in the state of Vermont where I know that it's that high. I run an organization. We have multiple houses that have 10 plus people living in them with an office in the downstairs, and they're still not that high. So I guess my comment is that I understand you have to raise money, but what happens when people can't pay their bills anymore? You'll have no money. And so I would be very cautious on how much you raise beyond what you already have. And I mean, our jaw hit the ground when we looked at the bill when it hit July. So I think that's my main comment. Number 2 is, and I guess I don't really understand what the government body or the judicial body role in all this, but does that mean that the village and the electric department will take on additional legal expenses, which then again, yet trickle down to the residents? You know, that's, so I have some problems with that, considering the relationship between what the legal team is for this village and who is the on the board of trustees, because there is a conflict of interest there. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Gonna jump back to Sterling View Cooperative.
Yes, my question to you is, the board of directors or whomever it was that let this slip through their fingers, are they going to be rehired again, or is it actually up to Hyde Park to do that?
They're voted.
They're voted.
Elected.
So are they going to have to pay any penalties for doing this to us?
So there is an open investigation into Hyde Park's management practices. It's separate. Where essentially the idea was to focus on the financial aspects first, and then move on to the management aspects. So it is an issue that's being considered, not necessarily directly right now at this moment.
So if it's going to be considered, maybe we ought to consider paying our light bill. It's not anything to really laugh at.
It isn't, I'm sorry.
And it's a big joke that we have to pay all this extra because somebody behind the water and light or the light board, you know, did a doo-doo. And we're paying the price, and I don't think it's fair.
Part of the price that we're paying is they moved out of the town offices and now we're renting another building in town. It's like, and they want us to pay more money. So, I mean, is that even looked at, that they're now have a second building that everybody's paying additional money on. I mean, it's not part of your electric bill, God knows, but it certainly is reflective in my tax bill.
Mhm.
Can they be asked to move back to the building they were originally in as part of this rate increase?
They have a brand new place.
It's not very new.
No, I know, it's.
But it's $3,000 a month, I understand, the building renting.
Right, those are all issues that need to be considered. Do you have any other comments for tonight?
What happens if we, as the ratepayers, as a group of people, refuse to pay the rate increase? I know we can't, but I'm saying it's, you guys are operating on, if this happens, then this will be done. And if this happens, this will be done. These are the changes. These are the income changes. These are the interest payments. And you still have capital improvement going on with Hyde Park. So what if we said, our proposal is that we talk to Morrisville, we talk to Johnson, we talk to Hyde, we talk to, Craftsbury and Jefferson, whoever has services around here, and we go with them as a service provider, and we tell you folks to take a leap off the nearest bridge.
I like to say, that's a good, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not going to speculate on hypotheticals. It's something you can talk to the Department of Public Service about. We have what's in front of us is Hyde Park Electric's proposed rate increase, and that's what we're focusing on.
So I have a question.
Yep.
It sounds like, I know, obviously, we're all very frustrated, but I'm not hearing any positive things from your end. Like, it's just, well, this is going to happen, and then this is going to happen. But there's nothing, are we going away from this meeting and discussion, scratching our heads and saying, and there wasn't an answer. There's nothing good down the road. We're going to be stuck with this horrible situation, and there's nothing for the people that are going to be really hurt by this.
So just to be clear, we're not. Oh, sorry. Apologies.
No,
Didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, I was just saying, including myself and my husband, we're retired, we're struggling. It's just an impossible situation. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, my apologies. So tonight we're not resolving anything. This is to hear comments, sort of next steps going forward. Department of Public Service is going to file testimony with us, say what they think we ought to do, and then potentially have a evidentiary hearing that's much more formal. And then what we'll do is, once we have all the information necessary, then we'll make a decision. So I am not able to say how things are going to turn out tonight. Tonight really is just to hear about the concerns and any questions we should be asking as well.
Yeah, okay, well, and it sounds like it's obviously a struggle. It's going to be a struggle. And there's a lot of people that are going to, whether it's going to be able to, have heat for the winter or even the cool air for the rest of the summer, or whatever it comes up. And last winter was brutal. And now we're looking at a hike, and it's just not fair. So I hope that the complaints get to somebody's ear that really cares. And I'm not directing this to you because like you said, you're just here to listen to what people are concerned about. But I certainly hope somebody out there has some part of them that says, this isn't right, and we need to do something more. We need to go an extra mile on whoever's making these decisions and whoever messed up. That needs to be addressed, and we need to give people relief and not tax and charge them more because we didn't have anything to do with it. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you. I noticed Mr. Stein put a question in the chat. Is it true that the loans have already been signed? I believe that the 2 loans are already committed. I do not know the record off the top of my head. I'd suggest talking to Mr. Johnstone, I believe was on the, suggest reaching out to Mr. Johnstone on that. All right, I'm going to do a last call, see if anybody is interested, if anybody wants to say anything else tonight. And again, www.puc.vermont.gov has information about how to provide comments, send us emails on this. Tonight is not the only opportunity.
I have one statement I'd like to make. So earlier tonight, someone here at Stony View said, well, maybe we just cut the electricity off. I think that deserves a little more attention to understand that going forward, the Vermont way of households taking care of less is to do with less. And they'll do with less electricity. And I'm not sure you factored that into your formula as to income, but I don't expect that you're going to see your this go without notice. That the income coming in will be far less, in my humble opinion, than it had been previously by kilowatt hour per location.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So again, just one last call. Anybody else interested in saying anything tonight?
You want to acknowledge the questions in the chat, Mr.
I thought I
McNamara?
didn't, sorry, I
There's a
might have
few
missed
more.
one. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Is the PUC going to explore the legal obligations of village trustees that initiated utility loans versus the legal obligations of the entire Hyde Park utility customer base? In addition, is there a responsibility of the bank that issued loans year after year? Between this rate case and the general investigation into Hyde Park's management, we're going to be looking at a lot of different issues, including the loans as well. And in terms of responsibility of the bank that issued loans, I can't speak to that. And then Mr. Curran said, sell the French house. I'm not sure what that means.
The French house
It's
is,
vacant.
it's a vacant property. The town or the village of Hyde Park was bequeathed by one of the trustees.
And the lawyer.
And, and it's been sitting vacant for a number of years. So really, they could be moving out of their office over to that vacant house. I mean, there's a cost savings. But yeah, sell the French house is a good point, Mr. Curran. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the explanation as well. All right. So again, if folks want to send us an email, puc.vermont.gov. But otherwise, not seeing anybody else who's interested in speaking tonight. Just going to pause for a few seconds. All right. So with that, then I'm going to wrap up. I just want to thank everyone for showing up tonight. Talking about the issues. There's a lot going on. So I understand people's lives are really busy, and I appreciate everybody showing up and taking the time here. It's really important to hear. So thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.